Hello everybody, welcome to Code Kingdom. You are right now in Scratchville, and today we're going to be looking at the basics to any Scratch project. Now, if you don't know much about coding, then this video is an absolute necessity to start out with. So, let's get right on to it. Thank you for choosing Code Kingdom. Let's go. At this point, you're probably thinking we're going to be doing motions, but no, we're not starting off with motions. We're going to be starting off with something else. Let's start off with events. So we're going to start off with the when green flag clicked. Now, what does this do? Pretty much what it says. When this green flag is clicked, this, whatever's in here, will run. Now, you have a when space key is pressed, so whenever you click the space bar, something will be happening. Because if you can see, the green flag is doing something weird, because the spacebar is being pressed. When the sprite is clicked, we are actually going to be looking at this today as well, but let's get right to it on a later date. Not later date, later time. So, when the backdrop is switched, we'll talk about that later. When loudness, these things are microphone-like. And when I receive message 1, broadcast message 1, these we're not going to touch right now. My messaging, we're going to be touching later. So, you guys should get a sense of what events are. When something has happened, then this will happen. Now, let's start off with this. This is all the blocks that you're going to use to code with. In my blocks, yes, I use that a lot. It helps with sorting and organization. This is where your program will run. This, I think, is called the stage. And this is your cast list, where all of the sprites or people acting in the program is going to be. For example, this is sprite 1, this cat. He is a sprite, because he is one of the cast members in this. You can make multiple sprites using this. You can either upload a sprite from your computer, you can have a surprise. You can choose a sprite. I'm going to go with an apple. Or you could draw your own sprite. And since I'm a pretty good artist, I'm joking. I'm okay at artisting. I'll do a video on that later. But yeah, you pretty much get the idea, right? Okay. Now, you know what sprites are, but the backdrop is basically the stage setting. Like, where is this all taking place? You can be able to know what a backdrop is when you have a surprise. Or you can upload your own backdrop. You can choose your own backdrop. I want a blue sky. Or you can paint. Since I'm good at painting, that is my drawing. Okay, so you should now understand how these things work. Let's revert it back to its original self, and let's go. So, you should have an understanding on how this works. Now we're going to be looking at motion. Motion is the second thing. I hope you are learning something so far, because these are utmost necessities, knowing what a sprite is and everything. So, let's say we have this. This is where the script is. It's the script. All the things that your sprite or cast member is going to perform is going to be in here. Now, multiple sprites. Let's say there is another sprite. You can have multiple scripts for just one sprite. Now, let's go with move 10 steps. I don't want this robot. He's in the way. What does move 10 steps do? You would think that it goes 10 pixels. And do you know what? You'd be right. It moves 10 pixels that way. Turning. Basically a rotation. Those of you guys in geometry should know what a rotation is. And go to a random position. Pretty much self-explanatory. I want him upright. Or you can go to a mouse pointer. The way we can look at this, I just want to make this simple. If it goes to the mouse pointer forever, it's just going to keep doing that. Alright, going to 0, 0. That is the center of the screen. So let's take a look at this. If we take a look at it as if it was a graph, for example, we have this guy right here. Say hello to him. I call him Scratch Cat. Everybody does. So 0, 0 in a graph is the exact center. You can go this way, this way. The screen of Scratch is from -240 to 240 for the X, and 180 to -180 for the Y. That is something you should know when you're trying to make games or direct programs. So pretty much, you should know these things. Now, if you move 10 steps from 0, 0, 10 steps is always going to go to the right. Unless you're facing in a different direction, in which case it can go anywhere. But it will mainly go to the right if you're facing upright. Then, from x equals 0, it'll go to x equals 10. And keep going. That is my spiel for today. Now, let's go back. So, now you have this go-to. You know what a go-to is. It'll go to 0, 0, which is the exact center. You can customize, like, let's say I want to go to 240, -180. I want it customized. It'll go there. 240x, -180y. Okay, now, glide to random position. It'll take, this one is pretty much self-explanatory, so let's look deeper into it. Now, as a quick question, how deep should I go? Should I go... Is that deep enough? Is that deep enough? I think that's deep enough. So here we have the glide to 1 second to a random position. This basically means it'll glide to a random position, but it'll take 1 second to do this. So let's break it down. You know it's gonna glide, which means it's gonna, let's say this is the sprite. Okay, that's your sprite. It is going to glide to a random position land. It's going to glide to a random position, and this is going to take 1 second to do. So, yeah, end of my spiel. Let's go back. Glide to 1 second for specific coordinates. That's basically the go-to. You should know how to do that. This one's kind of cool. Point in direction 90 degrees. That means it's going to be upright in 90 degrees. But if, like, he's facing that way right now to the right, right? If we want to make him face downwards, he's facing downwards. If we want to make him face that way, we can. If we want to make him face upwards, we can. That's what point in direction does. Points towards mouse pointer. Now that is something really cool. Let's quickly go back to 0, 0, and I'm going to show this to you. So here we have the Scratch Cat, right? If it points towards the mouse pointer, my mouse pointer is here, it'll point in that direction. Alright, enough of that. I think we got that. Now, change x by 10. Set x to, these are basically coordinates. You can change your x coordinate by 10. You should know this. If on edge, bounce. Now, this I'm going to need to do some programming for. So, just watch a simple program occur. Just before your eyes. Simply, if it hits the edge of the screen, it is going to bounce. And it always bounces in a 180 degree fashion. Well, actually, not even in a 180 degree fashion. It just bounces like a reflexive property, pretty much. So, yeah. I think you got that. Now, set rotation style. It basically does what it says. You just make if you want it to rotate, it'll only rotate left, right, or all around. Now these booleans, we'll get into those later because these can be a little bit tricky to handle at first. Now, looks, these are going to be easy, so I'm going to go say hello for 2 seconds. It's going to say hello for 2 seconds. Say hello. It's going to say hello. forever. And then think, basically is that think, for 2 seconds, forever. You can switch to costume 2 or costume 1, depending on how many costumes you have. Now, you can go to the next costume, and you can keep on doing that. If it's at costume 2, the next costume will be rerouted back to costume 1. Now, switch backdrop. Yeah, you can switch the backdrop from a sprite. Change the size. Or set the size. Change color effect. Changes the color effect. And you got a fisheye, whirl, pixelate, mosaic, brightness, ghost. Now, these things you can play around with. I especially like the ghost. I use that in a lot of my programs. Now, set color effect back to normal. Clear graphic effects. It's clearing everything. And you can show it or hide it. Show, hide, show, hide, show. Grow to front layer. These will be used if you have a multiple sprites. We'll get into, actually, yeah. Let's say you do have multiple sprites. And these sprites, there's so many, they start covering up your Scratch Cat. The only way you can get it to go to the front is going to the front. Now it's in the front. That is basically what it does. Not too hard. Go forward 1 layers. That means if there's multiple sprites on top of it, it'll go in front of one of them. And then booleans. Now, playing sounds. Sounds are over here. You can get more sounds if you go here. And you can get surprised. You already have a custom meow. Again, surprised. Cough. Yeah. Or you can upload one, or you can record one, like say, watch this. Hello everybody! This is a recording, a test recording. Now, if we save that, let's hear it.
Hello everybody, this
and you
is
can
a
upload one
recording,
or choose a sound from the billions inside that library. Now you can change pitch or pan left or right. That's something music people understand. Myself, I'm not a music person, but I do know what pitch is. You can change the volume. That anybody should understand, and a boolean. Now these, we went over the events. Control. You can wait 1 second before it does something. This, we're going to need this for. Let's say it says hello for 2 seconds. And then it thinks hello for 2 seconds. Now, listen to this. Hello. If we put a wait 1 inside this. Hello. Silence. That's how it works. Now, that's pretty simple. A repeat is a repeat of multiple things. Like, go to random position, you can do that 10 times. That was way too fast to see with the naked eye, so, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could have this being done hundreds of times, thousands of times. Like, watch this. Oh, your eyes. Throw it away. Okay. I'll give an entire lecture. I could give a 5 billion minute lecture on the if and else statements, but just know it's basically if something is true or if something is equal to something, then it will do whatever's inside here. If it's something else, then it won't. If it's not that, if it's something else, then it'll do that. Wait until something is equal to something, or wait until something is true. Then it will carry out another program underneath it. Stop all basically is that stop sign. When I start as a clone, create clone, delete clone, basically can clone your Scratch Cats so that they're multiple. And you can delete this clone. I want to delete the clone, and yeah. It's kind of weird because you need to, when I start this clone, delete clone, I think that's how it works. Okay. Now we're on to sensing. Some booleans, touching color, that means if you're touching a color like that blue, if we want to get that blue, if it's touching that, then it'll do something. If some certain color is touching another color, then it's going to do something. If a distance to the mouse pointer is less than or greater than or equal to something, then it'll do something. That's how it works. If it asks, what's your name? It'll ask for a response. My name is Code Kingdoms. And if the key space is pressed, it's basically another ripoff of this, except you get to use one of these. If the key space is pressed, then it'll ask, like I'm pressing the space bar. You add a forever statement so it can forever keep checking. It can keep on checking when you press the space bar. Then it'll ask what my name is. The Coding Kingdom coming at ya. Alright. So, that we should understand now. Mouse down, it is like a true or false statement. Is it down or is it up? Mouse X, it'll just detect the X coordinate of the mouse. Mouse Y, Y coordinate. Set drag mode to draggable, which means you can, when you're in full screen, you can't drag this like I'm holding it down. I can't move it. But, if this is done, you're able to move it. Simple. Now, loudness is a boolean. Like right now it's at 34%. And timer is at 12.508. You can always reset the timer by clicking the reset button. And you can check the backdrop number. These are basically some booleans. Basically, this is mathematics. The plus, you can add a variable. Variables, those are getting trickier, and my blocks these two took me a while to understand, but I did get in the end. You can pick a random number from 1 through 10. Operators, these check if something is greater than or less than or equal to, like I was saying here. If we have if something is greater than 50, like if the loudness is greater than 50, then something's going to happen. Okay. Now, you should understand how that is. If this is like, if something is greater than 50 and something is equal to 50, then it'll do something. If something is equal to 50 or something is greater than 50, then it'll do something. If something is not equal to 50, then it'll do something. If you join apple and banana, you get apple, banana. What is letter 1 of apple? A. Length of apple is 5. Apple contains A? True. And you can round numbers. And you can find the absolute value of negative. Getting that? These are all things. Now, variables. These are basically something here. Let's say you set it to 0. Let's say you have a point system. And these are the points that you have. If you gained a point, you can change the variable by 1. Let's say you gained you scored a touchdown in football or in a game of football. Then it'll repeat 6 times, change by 1, or change by 6. Either way works. Now, my blocks are basically, let me show you. Let's say I have a big program. This isn't that big, but I just wanted to show you something. And it'll say, it'll change its costume and then set the variable to 8, which means the costume number was 1. Now, I think it's getting a bit bulky. Let's say it's getting a bit bulky. I can create a block and call this function 1, because that's what it is. You're creating a function. And let's say this is now function 1, and when the green flag click, it'll run function 1. That's how it works. I thought adding that pick random would add more variety. Yeah. So I really hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please leave a big fat thumbs up. That'd be greatly appreciated. Also, please do subscribe to this channel. And also check out my gaming channel, which is Venus Ninja Plays. I upload on that as well. It should be in my channels list. Now, this is only the first video, and if you learned something from this, I really hope you did. Then, yeah. I guess I'll see you guys next time in Scratchville, and if you think you're too good for Scratchville, then try to check out Webtown. We're going to be doing things in there as well. Now, anyways, that's it for the Coding Kingdom. I'll see you next time.